Why won't they listen? Well, maybe it's because that you're not leading them the right way. So let's discover the secret to motivating your team the right way. Hey there, my name is Isai Rodriguez and I'm your friend. And this is where we build your leadership skills in your home, business, profits, one actionable tip at a time. So hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and let's get started. All right, so let's talk about something real here. Something that's probably been bugging you for a while, I'm sure. You've got a team, right? And you're probably like, man, I wish these folks, I wish these guys, I wish my team would just do what I need them to do. Am I right? Have you ever struggled with that? Now, you could go all bossy on them. You can be like, start barking orders. But let's be real here. Does that ever work? Like, does anybody barking orders at you actually motivate you to get anything done? Not really, right? Probably not. That's like a one-way ticket to mutiny. That's a one-way, surefire way to destroy all morale, to destroy all sorts of connection that you could potentially have with your team and just shoot yourself in the foot, right? Listen, no one likes a Mr. Bossy Pants, right? So what's a leader to do then? Have you asked yourself that? Well, I'm about to drop some knowledge on you that's going to change the game for you here. So you need to understand what it is that makes your team tick. That's the secret sauce right there. I know this probably sounds like teacher talk or, but stick with me here. This is going to be straight gold, all right? So let's imagine that your team is like a bunch of different sports cars, right? Or just cars in general, right? Some like gas, some take diesel, others, they're all electric, so it's just battery powered, right? Now, you can't just, knowing that about your team as vehicles, you can't just pour the same fuel into every tank and expect them all to, rev up and go, right? You got to know what it is that makes each car purr, right? You have to know what it is or what type of fuel gets that vehicle going, right? See, when you understand what motivates people, it's like having a secret power. You can tap into what makes them go, heck yeah, let's do this, right? Instead of, not again, right? Two totally different approaches, right? Now, I'm no fishing expert, but you can also think of it like fishing, right? You got to know what bait, when you go fishing, right? You need to know what bait to use for the right fish, right? So if you're trying to catch bass, and again, I'm no fishing expert, but when you're trying to go, when you're fishing for bass, and you're not going to put a worm on your hook and start trying to catch bass, right? You got to use something shiny, like a nice, bright, shiny lure, maybe something with feathers or I don't know, something that, moves around, something like that, something fancy. If you're deep sea fishing for shark or something like that, you need to use some, what do they call it? That chum, that tuna chum. Like, you need to use the right bait for what it is that you're fishing, right? Same thing with your team, right? You got to know what makes them bite, what makes them tick, what gets them excited, right? Now, I'm not saying that you got to be a mind reader or anything like that, right? But paying attention to what makes them tick, what gets them excited, what frustrates them, that's the key. That's the secret, right? It's about connecting with them on a real level. You see, leadership isn't about being a bossy tyrant or a drill sergeant, right? It's about understanding what makes your team tick. Okay? If you can if you can figure that out, then you've got the golden ticket to success with your team. So, first things first, everything rises and falls on leadership. So, like your success and your team's success, it all hinges on how well you lead. Does that make sense? Now, there are basically two ways that you can get people to do what it is that you want them to do, right? You can force them to do something, right? Like a dictator or, that mean boss that tells you, you got to do what I'd say anyway, or you can persuade and influence your team, right? And let me tell you, forcing people, again, that's the fastest way to become that person that everyone hates, right? Nobody likes a bossy jerk. No, you know what I mean? Like, now persuasion, like that on the other hand, like that's the way to go, right? But in order to persuade and influence someone, first you need to understand what motivates them, okay? Think about it. If you're trying to sell a product, you don't just scream at that person that, like, hey, buy this now. You don't scream at like that to someone, right? That's not what you do, right? You figure out what it is that they need, what problems they have, and how is it that your product can solve those problems, right? The same goes for motivating your team. And actually, there was a recent survey, where a bunch of psychologists were asked what the most important thing for a leader, like a business leader, what the most important thing it is for them to know about human nature, right? So they surveyed all these psychologists and they wanted to know, like, hey, out of human nature, what is it that leaders need to know most of all, like most over everything, right? And guess what? 2/3 of them said that it's motivation, understanding what makes people think like or feel and act the way that it is that they feel, right? So how do you do that if it's so important? How is it that you get to know that, right? Well, I have a few tips to get you started, to get you going, right? The first thing is obviously you need to ask questions, right? Get to know your team, period, right? Ask them what it is that they like. What do they don't like, right? What are their goals? Find that out, right? Because you need to know what first of all, if they don't have any goals, that's the first thing that you should work on with them on, right? Make sure they have some goals to reach out to, because there's going to be times when, shit hits the fan, things again, business is just a series of ups and downs. Like you're going to be winning one day and, maybe 1 hour, and then you're going to be down the next, right? But when you have that clear, concise goal in your front and center, then when you hit those pits and valleys, it's not going to be it's not going to affect you all that much, right? You're going to coast right through it because you're so focused on your goals. So that's the first thing, right? You need to know what their goals are, what they struggle with, because listen, the more that you know, the better it is that you can motivate them. The second thing is that you need to listen up. When they talk, you need to listen. I'm talking about really listen, really understand what it is that they're telling you, where they're coming from. You can't just nod your head and wait for your turn to talk, right? I used to do that all the time and it got me nowhere and it got me there fast, right? You need to pay attention to what they're saying, how they're saying it, if at all possible, their body language, right? If they're saying something in a positive, like the words are positive that are coming out of their mouth, but they're like, maybe they're, saying it, but shaking their head, or, you know what I mean? Like you need to put the words and the actions together and come with to a holistic conclusion. Does that make sense? Third thing, you need to show that you care, right? If your team knows that you care about them as people, as humans, right? Not just as business builders or partners or anything like that, or mentor, mentee. Like if they feel that you truly care for them, right? Then they're going to be like, they'll be more likely to go above and beyond. They're more likely to go the extra mile for you and do what it is that you need them to do. Does that make sense? The fourth thing is you need to be fair. And here's what I mean by that. You need to treat people with respect and fairness, period. Don't play favorites within your team. Everybody needs to be treated fair, with respect, equals, right? Make sure everyone feels valued. That's bottom line, right? The fifth thing is that we need to celebrate wins, right? When someone does something great, when someone hits a rank level, a pin level, they hit a certain amount of business volume, right? Celebrate that, whatever that is. Recognize their hard work and let them know that you appreciate them. Give them a thank you. Say, hey, great job. That was awesome. Like, wow, I knew you had it in you, right? I can feel it. Like show them some love, plain and simple, right? So let's bring this all home to us direct selling network marketers out there. So imagine that you've got a team of people who are out there hustling every day. They're trying to make sales and build their business, right? If all you do is bark instructions at them, giving them orders, right, all day, like what's going to happen is they're eventually going to burn out and they're going to leave you, plain and simple. They're going to quit, right? They're going to call you up and be like, hey, I thought this was a lot easier, but I'm not really enjoying this. I think I'm calling it quits. Like, they're going to throw in the towel, okay? Plain and simple. But if you take the time to understand what motivates them, what gets them going, maybe it's financial freedom, maybe it's providing for their family, maybe it's the thrill of closing a deal, whatever it is, when you do that, you can tailor your leadership to meet their needs. So, for example, if someone is motivated by financial freedom, then remind them of the big picture, right? Show them like how every sale gets them one step closer to their goals. Every business partner that they bring on, right, brings them closer to their ultimate goals, right? If someone loves the thrill of the chase, maybe, as they say, right, then turn it into a game, right? Like set challenges, create a leaderboard, if you will, right? Just make it fun for them. Remember, the secret to getting your team to do what it is that you want them to do without being a creep, if you will, is simple. Understand what motivates them. It's not about you. It's about them, right? Get that part right. Get that right. And you'll have a team that's not just working hard, but they're going to be working smarter. Okay. So there you have it, my friends. That's my tip for today. Keep leading with heart and hustle. All right. If you found this episode helpful and inspiring, hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. And if you have any questions, any topics that you'd like to cover, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Also, don't forget to follow the link in the description for access to my free masterclass training, where I show you firsthand how to successfully put all these tips into action today. Till the next time, I want you to stay legendary, my friends, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Take care now. Bye.